So all this progress has been wonderful, and today we're going to use two specific machines in order to really start to button this thing up. But it's turned out to have some really serious problem areas. This is going to have to firm up before we get concrete in here. I'm going to be using the mini skid steer as well as I'm going to be using my new tractor, both of which are going to be moving a lot of gravel. I've ordered 96,000 pounds, I believe, of gravel today, and we need to get it spread under these lean-tos. So if you've been following the channel, you know we've been building a big barn. It's done. The barn's completely built, and I wrote the check yesterday to approve it. So that's all completely done. Now, one thing we still need to do is we need to do concrete on the inside, need to do electrical. We'll have other things I need to get done. If I get under these lean-tos done, I can go ahead and start to move my equipment out from the wilderness around me and start to get all my stuff organized, because this is essentially going to be done. But right now, we're going to be using two awesome pieces of equipment to move all this gravel. So the first machine we're really going to talk about is this new Baumalight mini skid steer. So I've seen these things everywhere. I have been so perplexed by, like, are they really helpful? Are they just toys? I've got a great relationship with the folks at Baumalight, and I said, hey, listen, I'd love to try one out and demo it. And if you guys are interested in me making some videos with it, they said, absolutely, we'll send you one. So this is our Baumalight TRL630Y. It's got a Yanmar motor in it. And I'm telling you right now, it's dirty because I've been using it. I just uncrated this thing and I have 10 hours on it. This has been an absolutely awesome experience with it. And I'm not paid a nickel. I don't work for Baumalight. If you guys buy 100 of these things, it doesn't impact me one way or the other. I'm just here to, I love demoing equipment and sharing my experience. These are the real deal, guys. We're gonna talk more about it as we keep working, but what I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna use this bucket to kind of knock down some of these ruts. Some of them may be too big for this little machine. This is about 3,000 pounds. I may need to get the tractor to knock some of them down. If I have to move beyond that, I can get my skid steer, knock them down. But man, I'm telling you, this is a handy, handy piece of equipment. They're expensive, but man, it's handy. I think that this is going to be insanely helpful moving some of this crusher run in this small space with all these poles and everything, and it's gonna be great. So anyway, let's get to work. So one thing that's very handy about it is it has a float function on the bucket. So if you just like a tractor or anything else, if you hit your right hydraulics or your bucket hydraulics all the way forward, it'll put the weight of the bucket on the ground and float. Now this is pretty hard now, which is kind of crazy because it was like soup the other day, but it should work out great. Let's give it a shot. I just love how you just hop on it and go. If I take that bucket down, now we're in float. And it's just using the bucket to knock all these little ruts down. And I can do the same going forward to get some material that may be kind of loose. Man, that is so handy. Just being able to hop on it and go, man, that's like next level handy. Big rocks. All right, so stuff like, you know, these big, huge rocks, we want to get these out of here because these are not going to be easy to kind of spread around when I'm coming in here just trying to level stuff out. So just hop right out. That big rock in there. All right, so this is the area where the ruts are definitely a lot deeper. You know, cameras never really show how deep a rut is, but you can kind of get a good idea. All that chocolate milk right there, it's got to go. But this is a 94-foot long span under roof. The building is 50 by 70, and it's 94 by 62 under roof. So I think that little mini skid is going to do a great job of knocking all these ruts down. And then when we come in here and we put that crusher run in here, it's going to be perfectly level, and it should be exactly what we want. So actually I need to build this up a little bit, or break this down a little bit, I should say. Start over there grading, and then we'll go from there. Look like I'm a crazy person, and I promise you I'm not. Now, I am not an earth mover, you know, excavator guy, which is why I have Michael. Michael is an earth mover excavator guy, but the problem here is that there's a lot of clay on this site, which is awesome. We actually ran a compactor over this thing and really compacted down the soil, but there's these pockets of like absolute 3 feet of just peanut butter. I was having a hard time with the mini skid because it just kept kind of going side to side, and that doesn't really help you when you're back dragging and doing this with a bucket. So I thought this was gonna be kind of simple, but it's turned out to have some really serious problem area. This one strip, which, I mean, I stepped in and, you know, my entire foot is full of mud because I sunk down about 4 or 5 inches. This whole strip is just bad. So the only thing I can think of is either get a lot more material or pack it full of crusher run and then let that kind of become a solid base. I went with plan B, and this is working great. So now that I'm kind of going back and forth, it's actually been way easier to not only operate the machine, but to kind of have some kind of way of getting things level. Now, I could tell you we are so sick of mud season here in Tennessee. Every spring, like late winter, early spring, is like mud everywhere. All the machines get filthy, we get filthy. Just by doing this right now, this is gonna keep so much of our equipment from getting just caked in mud, and mud holds moisture, which makes stuff rust. The Baumalight's doing great. I'm gonna keep spreading some of this stuff. I think the tractor would have just been a little bit too heavy. So if I could at least get this on a solid base, then I can go get the tractor and probably use that bigger, wider bucket for a little bit more of a level spread. So that's my thought at least, but I'm having a ball. That's what matters. Hope you guys are enjoying this. Well, the mini skid worked great for really tight spaces, especially considering the fact that we had all these like low-lying trenches, like this kind of stuff. I mean, this is like peanut butter. The crusher run is really doing a good job as we're pressing this down. You know, the machine is about 3,000 pounds, so we're stepping it in, kind of just compacting those those little trenches, and it's working out great. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna hop on the tractor and I'm gonna see if I can't spread the back area, and then we'll hit this area at the very last minute. You know, the one thing about a mini skid though is that they will beat you up. Like standing on that thing, it's not sitting down in a luxury cab. It is physical. It is, you know, I think someone has to have some level of good physical fitness in order to use those things. But here's the tractor, TYM 4058. This is a new model. There is not one scratch on this bucket, I don't think, because this sucker is about a couple weeks old. I had a box in here, but I mean, we're about to break this in right. But this is a 58 horsepower tractor. Works very, very well for loading, mowing, tilling. It's kind of just an all-around great utility tractor. Michael's still up there doing Michael things, trying to get the topsoil put back on that hill. And all this stuff is happening at the same time, and we have a lot of work to do. So no more talking. I'm gonna try and get a lot of this pile, I think. Or no, maybe I'll cut in this pile. All right, I'll figure it out. can see it is a bright and sunny day. I had a great day yesterday. It was so much fun. That mini skid steer is so handy, man. It is like, it's just like nothing else. It's almost like a Mini X, right? Because you just can't replace that tool. It just does so many things so well in such a small, tight area. Now, the thing it didn't do well, which I cheated, and I wasn't gonna cheat, I was gonna do this entire thing with the mini skid, have the tractor move the material, do the entire thing with the mini skid. However, that bucket on the mini skid is not very big. So when I'm back dragging and I'm floating it, trying to make this thing level, it was not coming out level. So this area right here, I took the big skid steer in here, floated the bucket backwards, smoothed that out, looks great. Here you can see where it's still a little bit lumpy. This dirt work is just a train wreck. So forgive me for all the people out there that actually do this for a living and watching this, and you're probably thinking to yourself, this is the worst video I've ever seen. But I'm doing my best, one, and two, the mini skid's moving the material perfectly. This is exactly where something like that shines. Pull from the pile, spread down there. That's 30 yards at the end of this build, where that last post is. So this is not as close as it may look on video. This isn't, 5 feet. This is a 30-yard span, and this is 12 feet wide, in case I haven't told you guys. The tractor did a great job moving material, but these posts are so close together that I'm just terrified I'm gonna clip one of these posts, especially with the skid steer. Man, I am like slow and steady with that. But I've got the bucket on the big skid steer, and I'm gonna explain to you why we're gonna use the big skid steer right now instead of the tractor or the mini skid. Okay, so coming in here, you see there's the mini skid. This is where it slept last night. I have some pallet forks for it. I actually bought a grapple for it, and I have a couple other attachments that we're gonna show you in future videos that are actually really, really cool. That's where this little mini skid I think is gonna shine for us here on the farm. It is unique, and I'll be completely honest with you guys, I was not sold on mini skids. I thought they were kind of hokey, just like I have a skid steer, right? I got a big skid steer. What do I need a mini skid steer for? This has made me a believer. They are not cheap, but they are super handy. Now, where the big skid steer is handy is all this stuff from when the telehandler was in here, putting all these rafters and everything up, or the trusses, it's made these huge, mounds of clay, which are hard as a rock. So, standing water in this one. So I'm gonna have to use the big skid steer, smooth this out some, and then I can actually start bringing things in here, because I'm not gonna have concrete right away. It's just, I have to get electrical put in here. I have to get some plumbing running here. I have to get the water line done off the well out here. So there's just still a lot more to do, but this video is about mini skid steer versus tractor, but now we have a new component. We have versus skid steer. See, that's where these kinds of things shine. That was maybe like, I don't know, 2 minutes, and I took the bucket off, I moved the grapple, I put the pallet forks on, I moved the pallet, got everything out of the way, and now we're ready to rock and roll. So some people may have questions who don't necessarily do this kind of stuff, which I don't do this for a living either, but somehow here we are. But the reason I'm using the big skid steer versus the small one is because these lumps, when you're riding on that thing, you're gonna it's like bucking a Bronco. It's not fun. The second reason is that the mini skid is about 3,000 pounds. This Kubota is 12,000 pounds. So there's a lot more weight here to smash this stuff down. This is all gonna be concrete at some point, but for right now, let me see if I can get the camera to give you a better look at what we're kind of dealing with. Like, this is what we're dealing with right now, and that's what we're trying to fix. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it can absolutely be better. Let's get in here and let's make some mess. This Kubota is going to deserve a big time bath after all this construction's over. I love washing machines. Just taking care of stuff, man, stewardship. Well, I would say that's a major improvement. So what I had to do is I had to bring some crusher runner here because this was just a mud pit. I mean, this stuff is, it's just spongy, and that's actually pretty hard right there. That's pretty okay, but right here, you can see, man, it is like, this is gonna have to firm up before we get concrete in here, and I may have to come back in here and do some more work. But again, until the concrete's done, until the doors are up, until the electrical's done, all the things we're gonna be doing, I'm gonna be putting stuff in here to keep it out of the sun, keep it out of the weather. So may as well not get everything nasty and muddy. So you're just washing machines all the time.